This one email destroyed my boss's career and boosted mine. It started like any other Tuesday morning at the office. But what unfolded over the next few hours would change the course of my career and my boss's forever. I never intended to destroy anyone's career, let alone my boss's. But when you're stuck under a manipulative, power-hungry person, sometimes you need to fight fire with fire. And this one email, well, it did exactly that. Here's the story of how one simple email turned the tables, got me noticed, and sent my boss packing. The toxic work environment at first. My boss was charming. They knew how to smile in meetings, throw out compliments, and act like they cared. But behind the scenes, it was a different story. They took credit for my ideas. They passed off my hard work as their own. They made passive-aggressive comments to undermine my confidence. It wasn't just annoying. It was suffocating. I felt like I couldn't move without being micromanaged or sabotaged. The moment it hit its peak, things escalated when my boss openly took credit for an important project I had worked on. They even presented it to senior management, leaving me out of the loop entirely. It wasn't the first time, but this time, I'd had enough. I'd been documenting everything, and I had the receipts. The email that changed everything, instead of quietly fuming or letting it go, I decided to use the one tool I had left, email. But this wasn't a rant or a complaint. It was a carefully calculated move. I drafted an email to senior management that included a detailed timeline of my contributions to the project key email exchanges, where I provided the original ideas, a professional, non-accusatory tone that simply laid out the facts. I didn't name names or try to drag anyone through the mud. I just presented the truth. The response. Within hours, I got a response. Senior management wanted to meet. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I knew one thing. I wasn't going to let my hard work be stolen anymore. The fallout for my bosser. Few days later, things started to unravel quickly for my boss. They were called in for a meeting. Not long after, they were placed on a temporary suspension, while an internal investigation was launched. It was like the walls had finally come down. Everyone who had been afraid to speak up or confront the boss behind closed doors now felt empowered. I knew this wasn't the end of the story. It was just the beginning. The promotion that came next. While my boss was being investigated, I was quietly promoted to take over the projects they had mishandled. My new role was a huge jump up, both in terms of responsibility and salary. It felt like a vindication of all the hard work I had done, the hours I had sacrificed, and the energy I had poured into a toxic environment. Turning the tables. My next move. But it didn't stop with just the promotion. The exposure from the situation led to other opportunities. I started getting noticed by higher-ups in the company, and soon after, I was offered a better position in a different department. This move gave me more control, more visibility, and, yes, more money at the same time. I built a side hustle, sharing my story and tips for navigating corporate politics and dealing with toxic bosses. The income from that quickly outpaced my full-time job, turning into a profitable business. The sweetest revenge, not what you think. The best part of this whole situation wasn't watching my boss get what they deserved. It wasn't even the promotion or the side income I generated. It was the fact that I didn't have to play dirty or lower myself to their level. I used facts. I used professionalism. I used strategy. And that was enough to not only protect my career, but launch it final. Thoughts. Sometimes all it takes is one well-timed email to turn everything around. If you're stuck under a boss who takes credit for your work, manipulates situations, or simply doesn't respect you, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Be strategic. Document everything and know when to make your move. It's not about revenge. It's about securing your future and protecting what you've earned. Because when you fight back smartly, you don't just survive the toxic environment, you thrive.